Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, what's your favourite Bond movie? What is it? Come on now, you've got lots to choose from. This is prompted because our good friend and Super Channel contributor, Captain Ronnie, over there on the Emerald Isle, had spotted something that William Hill, the gambling Mecca, William Hill Vegas, that particular offshoot, had done a survey of 3,500 British citizens, all of whom are addicted to gambling, obviously, and have a fascination for those little tiny pens which never seem to work, And the Grand National's about to start, and they're trying to get you. Oh no, it's gone again. Oh, but they asked 3,500 people, what is the best or the greatest Bond movie in the entire franchise? And well, to be honest, you can't be surprised by the results that came out. Now, I will be honest and say that I haven't seen the full lineup. I've seen the top three and the last one. I can't find online anywhere. It's probably right there in plain sight, but I can't find it. All the listing that it all came in. But number one was, and I'm playing the soundtrack to it right now, was a genuinely great Bond movie. From the Daniel Craig tenure, Skyfall. That was number one. With I wrote this down. I think it was 17.5% of the people surveyed came up with Skyfall. Out of all the decades and all the different Bonds, Skyfall, enormously successful, very, very popular, critically acclaimed, and it's great. I absolutely love it. I love it. But would I put it as the greatest Bond movie ever made? It has all the elements that you want from Bond. It's got the action, it's got the gadgets, it's got a bit of emotion there. It's got a great soundtrack, you're hearing now, apart from Adele's bloody awful title song. Won't go into that. Can't stand it. Can't stand her either. But Skyfall itself is a great addition to the Bond pantheon. And we learn about his Scottish roots, of course, his ancestral home, Skyfall. Did you know that Bond only was bestowed by Ian Fleming Scottish ancestry after Ian Fleming saw Dr. No? And he initially didn't like Sean Connery. It was wrong for Bond. But then he saw Dr. No and thought, he's spot on for Bond, And then he wrote You Only Live Twice, came out after Dr. No had been released as a movie. And then he gave Bond Scottish ancestry. His dad's Scottish, born in Glencoe, and his mother is from a little village in, is it Norway or Sweden? I can't remember. So there's a bit of exoticness there as well. But but Bond is Scots, as far as I'm concerned, and Skyfall retained by the old gameskeeper and groundsman Albert Finney. Welcome to Scotland, as he's just blowing away a couple of the bad guys at the end. It has an evolution to that movie. Great score, great performances, fantastic set pieces, and a wonderful suit at the start. That grey suit he wears when he's doing the motorbike leap onto the train, and then using the digger and all this, and like plunging into the train carriages, which he's just wrecked. I've got that suit. I bought that suit specifically for the premiere of Skyfall. Yes, I dread to think if I could fit into it right now. Probably not. But I love Skyfall. I think it's great. Out of the Daniel Craig tenure, Casino Royale is still my favourite, but Skyfall is just below that. Quantum of Solace, Jesus, it was actually on terrestrial TV last night, Quantum of Solace. And, well, more about that later. I definitely despise Spectre with an absolute vengeance. I hate it. I think it's a god-awful movie. And the whole thing with Blofeld was just, ramshackle, unnecessary, and just convoluted to the nth degree, and completely worthless and eye-rollingly banal and bad. Then you get No Time to Die. The weird thing is that when you watch the Daniel Craig movies now, even from Casino Royale onwards, you get a sense of destiny, a sense of fate. Now, they hadn't designed it that way, no way on air. But he meets and loses Vesper. And then you get the whole thing of his half-brother, whatever the hell the bloody thing is with Blofeld, and all the backstory, and we lose M, of course, and then we lose Bond himself. It's all well and good saying that you can see that the breadcrumbs, which is the track title from this, breadcrumbs is dotted around the 4 movies. Hang on. Skyfall, Quantum, Casino, Spectre. Five movies. Dear God. Yeah, we've done 26 in the official canon, haven't we, for Eon? And it's easy to look back from like Casino Royale and go through them and get this sense of like, oh, it's fatalistic, it's destiny bound. Because we know he dies at the end of No Time to Die. Well, he found time to die, didn't he? Right at the very end. And but there is an element. Now, it's the darker, grittier edge of Bond in the modern age. So I think we've got to accept that. But to come out with the greatest Bond movie in the entire franchise, how did he grill these people? Because, paint to a pinch of shite, they're all going to be a lot younger. The older ones are too, I'm too busy putting the odds on and all that, like, and doing my play spot and everything. So to be actually bothered, if they sat down and thought about it, the older ones would be picking Sean Connery or possibly even Roger Moore, possibly even Brosnan. But they wouldn't necessarily be going with the Daniel Craig thing. Daniel Craig appealed to a lot younger audiences, and for obviously great reasons. They were action-packed, they were gritty, they were raw, they were a bit more realistic, and you saw him muscle-bound, so you wanted to be him. Whereas you didn't want to be Roger Moore, did you? But some of the older guys would have preferred that if they sat down and thought about it. So I don't think it's that easy to just come out with the greatest Bond movie, because you've got to think of the different eras, the different people that played Bond. What's the most faithful? What's the most exciting? Then you've got the most successful Bond movies, and then the absolute disasters, and the ones where you can quite clearly tell the guy didn't want to be Bond anymore, and it might bleed across to the audience. So what are the parameters? How would you work this out? Well, folks, you all know what my favourite Bond movie of all time is, and it's right there, it's right behind us. And yeah, it's the one that sticks out like a sore thumb. I just used my thumb then, didn't I? On Her Majesty's Secret Service, OHMSS. I love it. I've always loved it since a child. And I think, for me, it nails everything. It's exciting, it's violent, it's emotional, it's got the best soundtrack, the best score, it's got the best song as well, of All the Time in the World. And it's the most faithful to Ian Fleming. It does exactly what Ian Fleming wrote and adds a bit more as well. But it's Lazenby. And you can all go, oh, Lazenby used the rubbish one. No, it's the bloody best one. He put everything into that. And the way he fought, the way he rolled, the way he moved, the way he skied, the fight in the air, and the chiming bell cabin thing when the Alps, it's fantastic. The raw emotion of losing Tracy at the end, buying a rig. It'll never leave you, never leave you. Once you saw that, that was it. You were scarred for life. And it made Bond the bigger, better, greater Bond afterwards, because he had that haunted quality to him then. That like, right, no one else is going to get inside here. I'm not going to let my guard down again. And it's an epic movie as well. Like, nice locations, fabulous bad guy, Taste of Alice as Blofeld. You've got all Blofeld's babes, and there's some fantastic ladies amongst them. And you've got Bond wearing a kilt. Right on, Sir Hillary. But you've got to take into account, everyone loves Sean Connery, and I always like this, that it's Sean Connery is James Bond 007. Everybody else is as James Bond 007. And, there's no mistake in that. Now, if I was to go through all the movies, all the 10 years, and I have done it, in fact. I mean, I have prepared a little list. And I've done the best 7 as in 007, and the worst 7 as in 007. Oh, did I say what the worst one in the survey was? Did I say this? Well, it shouldn't have been in there, but it's a Bond movie, and obviously they hadn't really set stringent parameters on the actual questioning of these people. They've just gone like, next to the actual cashiers and the bookies, there's a little thing like, what's your favourite Bond movie? And just written it down. That's probably all they've done with them little shitty little pens. And but the worst one, it got 0.6%, was Never Say Never Again. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a pretty dire movie, but it's also not a Bond movie, is it? No, it's not. It's the one outside of Eon. It's the one that Warner and Columbia made, because the rights to Thunderball, because it's just a remake of Thunderball, that's all it is, a reworking of that. The rights to that were at the time, open up for grabs. Eon have now got that back, the rights to Thunderball, so I believe. So there'll be no more sort of like counterfeit versions, unofficial, off-the-cuff versions. But that was the one with the least. Second, so you had Skyfall was number 1. Second was Goldfinger. Now, I mean, you'd be surprised. You'd think that Goldfinger would have been the number 1, being as it's perennially voted and talked about in such high esteem. It's the 3rd Bond movie, official Bond movie. I'm not talking about the original Casino Royale, with David Niven and all that. But it's the one that cements the Bond that we know and love. A womanizer, quips and one-liners, super suave, super dangerous, gadgets, and an overblown sort of the bad guys, the plans, the nefarious schemes, all slightly more elevated, than a bit more, megalomaniacal, and it does everything. And the Aston Martin DB5, of course, is in there. So that sets the template. So Goldfinger was number 2 in this list. And number 3 was another Daniel Craig one. And this is what really surprised me. It was No Time to Die. Now, that split the camp. A lot of critics loved it. A lot of critics hated it. A lot of fans adored it. A lot of fans despised it because, well, of the obvious, he dies at the end. Bond cannot die. But as we've just said, if you watch the Daniel Craig tenure, it's foretold. They didn't plan it that way. Daniel Craig wanted out the franchise, and this was the only way they could cement it. Well, you've got to kill me off. Kill off my interpretation of Bond forevermore. And he did it. And I found it incredibly emotional, to be honest. And I did love the movie. I thought it was great. But I understand why people don't like it. And the thing is, with critics and all that, again, coming back to my favourite, it wasn't loved at the time. Fans didn't like it. Lazenby didn't want to carry on because they didn't want to be typecast as Bond. I want to move on. Big mistake, and because he was perfect, I thought. And he would have grown into the role, and his acting would have been better. I think his acting's fine in that movie. I do. There are nuances there. There is a style to him. People will poke fun because he just did the one, and it was a shock to people's systems. I remember when, I didn't see it when it first came out. It came out the year I was born, and but our local flea pit, the Phoenix 2-screen cinema, which was it's called the Phoenix because during World War II, it was originally a cinema called the Gaumont. It was bombed, but they rebuilt it out of its ashes and called it the Phoenix. And I spent many years in there. I'd come home from school and go, I wouldn't come home from school, I'd go straight to the cinema and spend all night in the cinema from a ridiculously young age. And I saw everything from X certificates to titillating sex comedies to hardcore horror. And because I went to school with the daughter of the people that owned the place, and one of my bestie friends at the time, his mother worked as a cashier there, so I didn't even pay to go in, and he never bothered stopping me and asking me age. It was fantastic. But they did a massive run of Bond movies, and because we'd grown up seeing him on TV as well, but they were showing all the Sean Connery ones, and I don't know, I'd be about 8, maybe 9 years old, and OHMSS would come on, and me and my mate would be sitting there going like, we were confused. I'm like, is it him or isn't it him? We didn't know what they changed the actor. He does look a bit different. It's got to be him. It's got to be him. So we went through all that dilemma as well. But all I knew is I loved that movie, and it got me where I live, you know, and I've never stopped adoring it. Critics in the last few years, or last 20 years or so, have reappraised On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and now it's in their top 10. Oh, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. They all love it. Same as John Carpenter's The Thing. You see, and I loved that the day it came out, and I knew it was classic, knew it was a masterpiece, and it's my favourite film of all time, as you guys know. But critics, lambasted it for all different reasons, and now those same critics all revere it. Yeah, times change and opinions change, but yeah, these are all shallow charlatan bastards who've just gone with the flow. God, it's a massive cult favourite. I was a bit harsh to begin with, wasn't I? Yeah, you were. And they were with OHMSS as well, which is now revered as a classic and a masterpiece. So, what else did I put down? I put down the best of 007, right? And I picked 7 titles from across the whole spectrum. And it's a remarkably difficult thing to do, because, as I said before, you've got certain things to look at. Who was your favourite Bond? Who was your favourite actor? What were the favourite stories, favourite scores? You know, what set pieces were the best? You know, what was provided the most overall satisfying round of entertainment? And what you later learned to like those critics? I respect it more now. Well, okay, and this is no specific order. You know, my favourite movie is this one there, but I've put down From Russia with Love, the second Bond movie after Dr. No. Dr. No is a film I never return to. I've seen it a lot, and I think it's great, but it's too small. And it hasn't got enough of the Bond that I love. I still love it a bit, but it's not one I return to. But I do watch From Russia with Love, which I think is fabulous. That's a pure espionage movie. Again, we haven't quite cemented the Bond template that would come in Goldfinger, but it's got the fight with Robert Shaw on the train. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's one of the best action scenes ever. And you've got the 007 secondary theme from John Barry, the Mission in Progress, Morse code sort of theme. I'm itching to play it now. I'll play it later. But I've played it for you guys a million times already. And if you played at my funeral, you all know the itinerary for my funeral, which is never going to happen because I ain't going to die. Oh no, not like Bond. See, Bond is a pussy. Bond dies. Kilt-Man goes on forever. So, it's got espionage, it's exotic, you've got the train, you've got aerial stunts as well, you've got Bond looking dapper with his little Trilby style hat on, you've got briefcases. It's a throwback to the 40s and 50s spy capers, but with that serious sort of tone to it as well. You've got the big gypsy fight, you've got everything. It's a wonderful movie. When I was a lot younger, a guy that I worked with, who was much older than me, and we were talking about James Bond. Now, at the time, it was, what would it have been? I think we were making the transition to Brosnan with GoldenEye, and he didn't like Lazenby. He did not like Roger Moore. He hated Roger Moore, and he did not like the idea of. I don't think he'd seen GoldenEye at that stage. I think it was just coming out. But again, no, it's too high octane, and it's not what it should be. It's not espionage. It's not spy movie. It's an action movie, and he didn't like action movies. But I remember him telling me that he'd seen Dr. No. He'd read all the books that Fleming had written at that point, loved them all, and Dr. No wasn't quite what Bond should have been. But then he saw From Russia with Love, and it blew him away. And he said that changed everything for me, movie-wise, and that Sean Connery was Bond. And it just, I reread the books, I saw the film, every opportunity I could go to see it. And he'd seen it on its premiere, so which is what, 62, 3 or something like that. God, I can't remember now. But and I could see, there was magic in his eyes, and he missed it over. And I thought, oh God, I get you, I understand that. but I still prefer On Her Majesty's Secret Service, if you don't mind. And but she was having none of that, like. And I said, oh, well, here you are. So From Russia with Love, Goldfinger. Well, Goldfinger. Odd job. You've got the cheating at golf and all that. You've got Fort Knox. You've got pussy galore. Pussy galore. Come on now. Honor Blackman. You've got the thing I loved about Goldfinger was seeing Fort Knox and all the US troops there, and of course with John Barry's great theme where they're flying over and they're putting all the knockout gas and all the troops are passing out, and then you get the big battle with the troops coming to again and fighting Ulrich Goldfinger's forces, and you've got, of course, Old Job and that bowler hat. Oh, Jesus Christ! Aston Martin DB5 and all the mod cons, ejector seat, of course. Loved it. It's only a short movie. And that can be a great thing. It don't have to be epics, but my God, it flies by. It goes by quicker than Odd Job's bowler hat, and you have a great time with it. It's funny, it's witty, it's a bit risque, as of course Bond should be. So Bond was getting all those little mannerisms which we all know and love now, and of course all the woke brigade can't stand and need to have written out. God, no. Bond was always a woman, because they'll try and rewrite all that history. Oh God, for God's sake, Kilt-Man, get off your soapbox, will you? Cheers, John. And then I put OHMSS, and then I put The Spy Who Loved Me. Now, I've reviewed that movie. I give a massive epic review of Spy Who Loved Me. I adore that movie. Yeah, we now enter the camp realm of Bond, which is the sole province of Roger Moore. But in actual fact, I kind of grew up with Roger Moore movies more than the Sean Connery ones. I caught up with the Sean Connery ones, but grew up with the Roger Moore ones coming out and seeing them when they premiered and loving them. By and large. But certainly Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker are the zeitgeist of Roger Moore for me personally, although I do love For Your Eyes Only as well, which is just outstanding. I'm going to start playing different music actually, because we're playing Skyfall here like mad. But let's go on to okay, well, let's go on to From Russia with Love. Let's do that if I can find it. Bloody hell, is it? Talk amongst yourselves. There you go. Okay. Right, this is John Barry, of course. But Spy Who Loved Me. Funny, sexy, action set pieces, tremendous stunts, of course, which Roger Moore is not doing any of them. But that's part of the charm, that you know he's not doing anything there. But he still gets into the a bit of fisticuffs. And I love the way that Roger Moore, every time he gets hit, he literally goes, oof! It just makes you laugh, because in reality, there's no way this guy can do what we've seen Sean Connery do and Lazenby do. But Roger Moore was still outstanding as Bond, but in a different, more dapper, eyebrow raising sort of way. And I got absolutely Spy Who Loved Me. Great big preposterous plot. You've got Caroline Munro in there as well. You've got the Lotus Esprit, which should be around here somewhere. Yes. Kentucky Fudge here is doing his best Blofeld impersonation there, but yeah, the Lotus Esprit's there. The comedy is ramped up. You've got Richard Kiel as Jaws, one of the greatest henchmen ever, and he will go on an odyssey with Moonraker, and you'll learn to respect him. Although he has the most terrifying sequence ever in the two movies that he's in. I mean, in the pyramids, when he puts the bite on that guy. That is pretty bloody scary in Spy Who Loved Me. But the whole, is it Mardi Gras, big street parade in Moonraker, and he's got the great big head on him as well, and he comes dancing down that alleyway, and Bond's having a scrap with the Oriental henchman up in the Art Gallery Museum, lots of glass cases everywhere, and this guy's, Jaws is coming down, in this almost absurdly surreal Mardi Gras paper mache head, and she's like, as Richard Keel's huge hand just grabs her face and almost like squashes her into the ground, like, But then all the rest of the revelers suddenly catch up and he gets swept along with him. And in an absolute genius moment, Richard Kiel is like, he's trying to get her to kill her. And then he can't get out of the crowd who were dancing. He just goes, just gives up and then starts dancing. Love it. But Spy Love Me is the one. So From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, HMSS, The Spy Love Me. And then I'm going with the guy I like least as Bond, remarkably enough. And it's Brosnan. It's old, paley blue. You know, look at the Irish. Oh, aye. And it's GoldenEye, which is great. You'd had a couple of years after the Dalton, the very brief Dalton era. And the Dalton movies, Dalton moved on. Dalton was very serious. By the way, although I haven't put a Dalton movie in there, I love both The Living Daylights and License to Kill. I think they're fantastic. But again, it's how do you weigh it all up? They are great, but they're not as good as the ones that I have put in for a vast variety of reasons. I would love to have seen Dalton go on and do more. License to Kill is a fucking great movie. It's brutal, it's ruthless. And again, it's got elements from Ian Fleming, but obviously taken from other novels and stuff. But it's got the things like Felix being eaten by a shark. For God's sake, they've got it in there. Anthony Zerbe gets put in a decompression chamber and blows up. I mean, forget like Mr. Big who gets injected with the fucking helium, whatever it is, like whoo, and off he goes, boof, on the ceiling. But live and let die. But I love Dalton stuff, but they're not here. But GoldenEye was it was a shot in the arm for Bond. It was a bit of invigoration. Sean Bean, as you know, Alec Trevelyan, is it Trevelyan? And he's a Cossack thing, I can't remember now. But going through Moscow in the tank and all that, the whole thing with the dam at the start and the huge plunge, the fight at the end, which is fucking brutal. God, loved it. The whole thing with the pen, Alan Cumming with the pen. I loved it. And is it Isabella Skorupko who plays the sexy Russian minx? Yeah, delightful. And the twinkle in Brosnan's eye was still fresh in that movie. The only downside to that movie is Eric Serra's god-awful score, which really does knock it down a peg or two. I don't like the score at all to this movie, but I love the movie, and I think it gave a really fresh sort of dynamic take on it. You've got him running around in like, you know, black combat gear and all that, like, and he's pretty brutal as well, and I loved it. Then you got Tomorrow Never Dies, which I actually genuinely enjoyed, but then you got two of the, well, I think they crop up in the other list actually, which we'll round off with Brosnan from that point. Then you get Casino Royale, which is outstanding for what's his name? God, Daniel Craig. You get so confusing with some of these people, so many of them, and that was another shot in the arm. All of a sudden, you had Bond, who was rugged, not a pretty boy, more of a pugilist. You know, he's been around the block a few times, which was the whole point. He had to look like someone who's gone through. They wanted him to be ex-SAS. Of course, he's a naval commander. He's a reserve naval commander is what Bond 007 is actually supposed to be. But Daniel Craig's version was, you're meant to get the impression that he was ex-SAS. And you kind of do get that, but they don't make it obvious. They don't say it. But his killings are savage. You know, you got Parker at the start of it and all that, which is just, some of the action scenes go on way too long, but they were moving with the times and ultra exciting. I mean, when the guy's flipping through little tiny gaps in walls and Bond just goes, well, fuck it, I won't fit through that. I'll just go through the wall. Oh, you're like, yes, get in there. Fantastic. Super sexy women. You got Vesper, Eva Green's in there. Fabulous score as well, absolutely amazing score. Great title song as well. Amazing title sequences, falling through all the playing cards. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. You Know My Name, Chris Cornell. Sadly, the late, great Chris Cornell. Wonderful, wonderful movie. And you've got emotion there as well. And it is remarkably faithful to the original story. Even down to getting his bollocks smashed, through a hole in the chair, repeatedly. And taken to the brink of death. And then you get the whole falling building in Venice. I know a lot of people at the time said, they've gone a set piece too far with that. Because it just, the film had a natural flow to it. And then you added this big set piece and then the tragedy, and it just seemed too much. Not for me. It worked. Everything worked. The machete battle on the stairs. Jesus Christ. And the whole thing. What it didn't have was a car chase. You have a slight car chase, I know. But the most exciting thing with that car was getting it. He's had a heart attack and trying to revive himself with the kit in the dashboard and all that. Oh, God. He was rough, tough, and yet we saw the vulnerability to him. So again, like on Her Majesty's Secret Service, my favourite Bond film of all time, and I struggle because I speak very fast and with a Scouse accent as well. He said, with a Scottish inflection there for some reason. Saying that title quickly is very, very hard for me to do. On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Ta-da! So Casino Royale and that have a similar trajectory. Action. He's brutal. He's harder. Doesn't give a shit until he does give a shit, because a woman will find her way into his heart and it'll end very badly and it will scar him. So those two work brilliantly together. Brilliantly. Here's 007. It's just magnificent, this. So love this track. Never get tired of hearing it. And then I've put Skyfall down. Yeah, I have, because, well, I said at the start, when it revealed that Skyfall was the greatest James Bond movie in the entire franchise. Well, I don't think it's the greatest movie, because that one is. But I explained all the reasons why I love Skyfall. The action's great, the locations are great, the story's very, very involving. RVA Bardem and all that, and when he takes his dentures out and his face goes like that, mommy and all that. You know what M really stands for and all this kind of stuff. Love it. Komodo dragons, great stuff. Absolutely amazing final battle at Skyfall, and you've even got Daniel Craig doing Tom Cruise and running across the moors, running to save mommy. And you get that final touching scene. But you've also got like the final shot, of course, of Daniel Craig's 007 atop, MI6, looking out on a grey, drizzly London with his long trench coat on, like, I'm back. I don't care what happened. I'm fucking ruthless. Little did he know they would scupper him good style with Spectre massively. And then he'd come back, albeit reluctantly, for No Time to Die. But Skyfall is great. So my 7 from Russia with Love, Goldfinger, on Her Majesty, that one, The Spy Who Loved Me, Goldeneye, Casino Royale, Skyfall. So they're the 007 best of the Bond franchise. Shall we have a look at the 007 worst of the Bond franchise? Shall we? I think we shall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why have I only put 5 down? Hang on a minute. Oh no, I've put one down twice. Maybe I can't think of 7 really bad ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 6. I've got 6. don't worry. I'll find a 7th one, just for the sake of it. Okay, these are the worst ones. Let's move on to a different score. Let's have a little look-see. Shall we go with... Well, I would have gone with Goldfinger, but I haven't put it on there. Well, that's clever, wasn't it? Damn fool. I'll tell you what we will do. We'll do On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Because we have all the time in the world. Where's 007? Right, Diamonds Are Forever. Oh, Jesus. There's so many elements in that should work. The whole Vegas stuff. You know, I didn't know there was a pool down there and all that. You've got those two gay hitmen who are fantastic. And you've got Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wit and all that. You've got the whole going into the funeral to be incinerated, to be cremated. Great sequence, to be honest. You've got, who's the girl in it? I forgot her bloody name now, but she's unbelievably gorgeous. And with you've got the great fight in the elevator as well, with all the glass breaking, which was a Sean Connery fight to rival, intended to rival the fight Robert Shaw, Red Grant, on board the train in From Russia With Love. And it is almost on a par with it. It's very, very brutal. And it's so quick, and it's close quarters, and it's smashing the glass consistently, and it's great. And then even with the fire extinguisher, it is brilliant. But and you've got Bambi and Thumper, and you've got Blofeld again, and you've got the oil rig, and it's Charles Gray. But it's just, and they even played the 007 theme as the US Marines or whoever the hell they are circling in helicopters and strafing all of Blofeld's men and all that. And she fires the machine gun and falls off. Oh God! And he's in a submersible getting swung around, and it's shit. I know I've just made it sound really exciting and fun. And you've got the whole thing with the lunar buggies and all that. A hint of Capricorn 1 there, but it's all fakery, you know. And he's out in the desert in this dune buggy moon thing. And no, it's not a good movie at all. And it's a very sort of, it's a low point for Sean Connery. Of course, he would sink even lower with Never Say Never Again, but I'm not putting that down it. I may have to, just to get the numbers up. Note to self, when you're writing a list and you say how many's going to be in it, fucking make sure you've put that number of movies down. I can't believe I entered into this fray without actually checking that I'd done 7. Diamonds Are Forever. Octopussy. Fuck no. Bond dressed as a clown. Oh, come on now. And sliding down the banister. And you got all the female assassins and all that. Octopussy herself. Oh, dear God. You got Louis Jourdan in there, which is great, of course. And you got that horrible sort of spiky, weird Assassin's tool thing. You can tell I haven't seen the film very much because I just don't like it. It's not a bad score, but the film itself is pants. Can't say a great deal more about it because I don't remember too much. I know, shocker, eh? And now, well, we're going to have a double whammy from Brosnan. Now, you know one of them is going to be the obvious one, but I'm not a fan of The World Is Not Enough. I think it's pretty piss poor. Okay, you've got, oh God, what's his name? Who's the bad guy? From Ravenous and The Full Monty. I forgot his name, and Trainspotting. I forgot his bloody name now. But he's playing a guy that can feel no pain. You think, oh, that's gonna be really frightening when you go up against him. No, the fighting with him is really shit. An upside down submarine, M's been captured, and you've got Denise Richards there as a fucking scientist. Oh, I know. It's been a bit prudish to go like, oh, I don't believe it, when you've had Holly Goodhead from Moonraker, and I'm quite willing to believe that she does what she's supposed to do. I'm not even sure what she's supposed to do, Moonraker, but she's some kind of boffin, isn't she? And But then you've got Denise Richards, who I do like in Starship Troopers, but I don't like her usually. Very pretty girl, far too many teeth and a gob the size of a great white shark's mouth. But no, the snow chase thing is really poor, really poor. You've got the whole thing going through the Thames and all that, and going to the big fucking arena thing. I forgot what that's called as well. And this the MI6 thing, the Q's little submersible, is speedboat. It can go underwater, and you've got Brosnan coming out and doing this, but showering people with water, and then going through cafes and restaurants and like, oh, shut up. It's funny how you can buy certain things, or you can take it with a pinch of salt and go, oh, well, it's just Bond, isn't it? And then some things you go like, I'm not having that. That's ridiculous. And I found that mostly with The Weather's Not Enough, which, even though you got Robbie Coltrane's back in there, but it just doesn't work for me. I think it's slow. None of the action's worthwhile at all, and I don't care. Brosnan is an annoyance in it as well. So no, The Weather's Not Enough, and the film was nowhere near enough. And then Die Another Day. Oh, Jesus. And yet, if I had to pick between one to watch, The Weather's Not Enough and Die Another Day, I would go for Die Another Day, because what's his name? Again, I forget anyone's name now. The red-headed bad guy in that, like Toby Stevens? No, Toby no, something like that. Anyway, I'm sure Toby's in his name somewhere. And the Ice Palace thing, but his fucking car goes invisible, and oh god. But you have got the swan song for Desmond Llewellyn as Q, and it is as he sinks below, in the Q department, Q branch, and it is a poignant moment. But again, the fighting is crap. The whole laser satellite thing, and it's just it's headache-inducing shite. And you got Madonna there as well. But you do have the great big fight in the fencing auditorium, and they go around all the club members are sitting there smoking pipes and reading Financial Times, and our two boys are going out to hell for leather, and it's definitely it's kill or be killed. And at the end, what good sport, Mr. Bond. Fucking hell. And you've got that god awful line where he meets again, I forgot everyone's name, I can't believe this, Halle Berry, who is outstanding, and he's got them stupid X-ray specs on, which make him look like a geriatric because they're purple tinted. He looks fucking stupid. And he sees her again, he goes, mojito. Pierce! You were a scary hitman in The Long Good Friday. Anyway, Die Another Day. God. My notes are on the floor. Come hither. So we've done Diamonds Are Forever, Octopussy, Well, That's Not Enough, Die Another Day. Okay, that's only 4. I can find 3 more. Spectre. A ton of shit. Because it introduced the whole Blofeld cackfest into the Daniel Craig tenure. Didn't work. I thought it was absolutely awful. The action again in this movie is poor. I like the scene where he meets all of Spectre, they're all there. And am I right, Mr. Bond? And he looks up and Bond's like, shit, and then he has to leg it. I do like that bit. Then it's a car chase with the big dude from Guardians of the Galaxy. I forgot his name as well. I'm doing really well tonight, aren't I? And they have the homage fight on the train, which is meant to be the homage to Sean Connery battling Robert Shaw, and it's nowhere near as good. It just isn't as good. Yes, you've got the big fucking dude and all that, like taking his jacket off, and he's like, he's going for it. And Bond's getting thrown around everywhere and getting his face smashed into things. And he's picking up like rails and fucking hell. Yeah, but it doesn't. I wasn't excited by it. It doesn't work. And you've got that really, really, really fucking awful finale. This is the film where it pays homage to all the things we know and love about Bond. So, megalomaniacs, big heinous crimes, armies of henchmen, OTT stuff, lots of humour, lots of gadgets. It's got everything they think you want to see from Bond, and you do, but they basically categorically fuck up every single one of them. And at the end, so he's got a big installation in the desert, and Bond kills, what, 2 people, and then just, you know, hits something and everything goes fucking combustible. And that's it. Where's the big battle itself? Rubbish! Absolute fucking rubbish. However, that big thing, you know, where he's got the mask on and all that, which I've got, the top hat and the mask he wears at the start for the Day of the Dead celebrations, and that one take shot, yeah, that is genius, but nowhere near enough to save it. Because what happens afterwards, he has the big fight in the helicopter where Bond himself is putting hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent people at risk. When he could have just called off the mission, you know, because I'm not going to injure anyone innocent. But no, Bond forgets that. And you get this really OTT bravura sequence with the helicopter, which is just, it's like, oh God, what's it called? Man of Steel, where Henry Cavill as Clark Kent and Kal-El battles General Zod and, you know, Michael Sheen, and they lay waste to all of Metropolis with a catastrophic number of casualties, which would have happened. And it just, after really enjoying that movie, it got to that and I was like, all right, we're 10 minutes in and the body count must be in the gazillions by now, and you've done this. Oh, it looks pretty and it's dead spectacular, but it's fucking stupid. Same with this, Inspector. It's just, did I just call you Inspector? Inspector Kilt-Man, Actual Services. So no, it's a fucking travesty. And sadly, of course, it does bleed into No Time to Die, but No Time to Die does pick up the pieces and does actually, okay, well, we're going to have Blofeld in here. But even that is the Hannibal Lecter style Blofeld entrance is, they ramp it up, but it's nowhere near as effective as it should be. Because you just know he's an idiot anyway, and I don't believe a word of this stepbrother bullshit. So, Spectre. Okay, I'm too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm too short. I don't believe it. Well, as my wife has always said, I am definitely too short. In height. Okay. What else don't we like? What? Shit. I'll tell you what I'm not a fan of. Live and Let Die. I don't think it's a good film. It's one of the most un-Bondian of Bond movies. It goes up against Mr. Big. I know Ian Fleming wrote the book, but it just doesn't seem to work. It's like, where are we going with this? And Jane Seymour as Solitaire, Yaphet Kotto as Mr. Big, but it's all. Well, you have got what's his face with the big steel arm, which is good, but you've also got him running across the alligators and all that kind of stuff, which reminds me, of course, of Octopussy with the tigers. Sit. The old Barbara Woodhouse routine. I bet a lot of people watch that now and have got no idea why you're supposed to laugh at that sequence. Sit. It was the Barbara Woodhouse thing. But anyway, but Live and Let Die. Yeah, there's not enough to it. There just isn't anything that exciting. I've got friends who are massive Bond fans who say that that's their favourite. Wow. And they're the same people that tend to hate Man with the Golden Gun, which I love. Isn't it weird? I think Man with the Golden Gun is Christopher Lee as well. And Brit Eklund. Great car chase in it. It's great, good fun. Little knick-knack there as well. Hector Velasquez. He's a little bugger, you know, said not Sean Connery, Roger Moore. He's a little bugger. Because he was like always up for the ladies. Little ones are the worst, mate. Little ones are always the worst. Don't call me a short ass anymore. So, Live and Let Die. No, I'm still one short, aren't I? Back on the height thing again. Oh God. No, all the rest of Connery is a love. Pretty much all, well, A View to a Kill, Max Zorin, Christopher Walken, Grace Jones, Dolph Lundgren's in there as well, albeit briefly. But you've also got Patrick Macnee as well. Not a good film though, is it? And it is a bit lackluster. You've got Tanya Roberts, and you've got the whole he even says, don't you know, she says, don't you know who this is? This is James Bond. And the copper goes, yeah, and I'm Dick Tracy. Which is the most preposterous thing. So, Britain's #1 secret agent, and his name is known by even, is it Chicago they're in? I forget where they are now. No, it's San Francisco, isn't it? The Golden Gate Bridge thing. And a local copper knows who James Bond is. He looked at her yeah, if he's James Bond, I'm Dick Tracy. What the that is ridiculous. Tanya Roberts is sadly gone as well. So many of these people are actually passed away now. It's shocking, but we're talking decades of movies here. I love this, but we're not going to do it. We're going to go to... This is great. This is a wonderful bit of music here. But no, it's not a good one. Have I done the 7 now? I think I have. Diamonds Are Forever, Octopussy, Well That's Not Enough, Die Another Day, Spectre, Live and Let Die, and what I just mentioned, A View to a Kill. Although you've got a great thunderous, great song, Duran Duran. Oh, but it is wicked, isn't it? But you've got the whole fucking stupid thing of the Eiffel Tower at the start and Grace Jones doing the No. And is that the one where the car gets chopped in half all the way around? Well, no, that's Octopussy, isn't it? Which is fucking stupid. And it's in that list as well. But you've got the Beach Boys, and you've got the ridiculous in the Antarctica, or wherever the hell they are, at the start of the pre-credit sequence, where you've got Bond, Roger Moore. He's like snowboarding. Oh, shut up. I know it became look, we know that you know that Roger Moore can't do this, but we're just having a bit of fun. Well, you can stretch that joke a little bit too far. Whereas I love it in For Your Eyes Only. The whole ski chase in that is, and I've done videos on that ski chase itself, is outstanding. And okay, the rear projection and all that, the stunts are great, and well, you've got Charles Dance's in there, and you've got the big fucking super Olympic skier who's also a Russian hitman as well, and you've got that massive chase on motorbikes and skis and all that, and you got Bond goes into the... I'm gonna play it now. What the hell? I'm gonna play it because I love the music as well, and it's Bill Conti does the music for it from the Rocky movies. Come on now, let's get on to this. Oh, for God's sake, where is he? This is where Lazenby gets forced into the car to go and meet Draco, and the big black henchman puts a knife in his side, and he just goes, I think we'd be more comfortable if put that away. And you get this militaristically but slow, sedate version of the main theme. Oh, it's just gorgeous, that. Gorgeous. I will review this movie properly and give it the full Kilted treatment at some point. I've promised this for years. Right, let's get on to... Oh shit, where is it now? Runaway. This is Bond being pursued by a guy. He's on skis, going down the slopes, and he's got guys on motorbikes coming after him. This is just an excuse to play this music. This makes me grin every time I hear it, and I love the sequence. It's so fucking stupid. When he goes into the bobsleigh run, and the guys in the bobsleigh are going like, looking behind him, and you've got Roger Moore, not the stuntman who's skiing beside him or behind him at high speed, but you got Roger Moore going like, and they go, He wants to come past him like. Just... People don't like this score. I do. And I'm the one who hates Eric Serra's score for GoldenEye, but I love this, and it is a huge departure. But it's funny. It's meant to be tongue-in-cheek. I can hear that. They're going over roofs and like falling over tables and stuff. People are having their alpine meals. Listen to the bells there. And they're all after the ATAC, decryptor system. And it's like, détente, comrade, at the end. But you've got one of Bond's, well, before the likes of Daniel Craig, you've got Bond committing a cold-blooded murder where he boots the car off the edge of the cliff with the hitman, Michael Gothard's hitman. And he's like, and down he goes. But you've got Bond's ingenuity, less gadgets in this movie. And he's climbing up the bloody mountain. And he's got to use his shoelaces to try and get his rope and tackle back together again. You've got Topol, or Topol is in there. Dr. Hans Zarkov, to you and me. It's just... It's so in-your-face, brazen, panto action. But it sums up Roger Moore in the later years. I did promise in the previous video I was going to get into shape again and try and lose all this jowliness that's taking place. Can't walk around like that though, can I? My dad had these, my brothers have got these, my sister has these. Ding, 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 ding. It's just great, isn't it? And like the guy, his bike gets all crunched up. Bond's lost his skis and he's trying to leg it off, And the guy picks up his motorbike and fucking hails it at him. And even his gun's all bent as well, like. It's wonderful stuff. Okay, let's. No. Marvin Hamlish's rendition of the Bond theme. It was called Bond 77. Spy Love Me, 1977. I actually love this version. There's a sort of elements of Paul McCartney, ELO, creeping into this. Another 70s sort of, like pounding sort of, great enhanced guitar. Of course, this is the opening ski jump thing. Rocky Taylor, who does the actual jump. Unless you thought it was Roger Moore doing it, with that appalling close-up where he's come down and his parachute's opened up to the Union Jack. Why? But it does. And then you see like Roger Moore like with a fake bloody ice wall behind him. That's lovely, that. Isn't that great? It's not John Barry, I know, but it's still, it has been updated, and it worked for the 70s, and that works. Whereas for 1990 or where it was when GoldenEye came out, Eric Serra's version was like, what the fuck? Isn't it awesome? And of course, Jaws gets introduced in this. See, it pays homage to John Barry as well, because John Barry, the John Barry 5, you know, it was pure jazz, very late 50s and throughout the 60s, a jazz band flavour. This is what he brought to the Bond themes and scores. He brought in small ensembles, but with a huge orchestra as well. But the small ensembles with jazz ensembles, which is why it worked. It gave it that kind of vibe. I mean, Barry's stuff is still the best. Alright. It's not over yet. But I want to just, I'm indulging myself here with this bit. This is the car chase bit where the motorcyclist has got the other sidecar, which is a bomb as well. Like just before, like Caroline Munro comes up in the helicopter and goes after him to that same music we just heard. Come on. Nope. Where the bloody hell is it? It's dead daft, this. It's almost like a Morse code thing, like almost like it's Marvin Hamlish doing the 007 in his own way. That's it. I know it's brief, but I love it. And that's when the rocket sidecar goes off. Well, folks, well, we've been on for over an hour. This was just like a reaction to the William Hill Vegas survey of the best Bond film in the entire franchise. They said it was Skyfall. Well, they didn't. The British population of 3,500 betting, gambling addicts came out with that. So you guys now have a job to do. You've got to let me know what your favourite Bond movie is, what your worst Bond movie is, and you can tell me why. You can give reasons. You can explain yourselves away. I did, and I want to play some more. What are we going to do now? What should we go on to? What haven't we played? What haven't we played? Well, you know what? I'm not sure if we played it or we didn't, but I'm going to do it now. We probably did, but I'm playing it now. In deference to what I think is the best Bond. And it's sizzling and it's relentless, it's bombastic. On him, Majesty's Secret Service didn't have a title song with that in. It has to be of All the Time in the World. So we had an actual orchestral main theme without a song equivalent. So that was a departure itself there. So again, he brings in a jazz element to it. Listen to the drums, listen to the buzzing guitars and the brass and that syncopated driving rhythm. It's almost, as a theme, it's quite stripped down. It's relentless and it's kind of brutal as well. which sums up Lazenby's Bond with that whip crack sort of editing. So every punch, and like a few frames have been removed. Of course, the Bourne movies would do this sort of thing, and Quantum of Solace, I said I'd come back to it, would do that sort of thing as well, and do it badly. Now, Quantum of Solace is not on my worst list. You guys would probably say it should be. You hate it. I have a great time with Quantum of Solace. The first half of it I think is excellent, except for the fighting and the bad editing. They're trying to catch up with Paul Greengrass and the Bourne movies, and they fail really badly. But I like that relentless chase at the start, and the whole thing with Mr. White, and the trickery and all that. And like, damn it, he killed him. You know, M's like, don't kill anyone. He kills everybody. You know, it's great. Even the guy from Special Branch. You know. But then it all gets really stupid. Oh God, with Green, whatever his name is, and it's not oil, it's after it's water, and oh, fuck off. But you know why it fucked up, don't you? You do know why. There was a writer's strike. Oh, look what goes around comes around. There was a writer's strike, but Eon were hammered into a release date for Quantum of Solace after the huge success of Casino Royale. They had to get this movie out, so everything was in place, but the bloody writers, oh shit. Well, so who took over and did half the writing for the last half of the movie? Daniel Craig himself and one of the producers, I forgot his name now, and they took over the writing. And Daniel Craig always said, look, I know the film is a shambles, it doesn't work, and it's my fault. Good on him. You know, he's like, look, I had to do it. No one else could do it. I had to do something. I couldn't let this film not come out. So he stepped into the breach, as Bond would do, and cobbled together just something. And that's why it doesn't work. But there's still enough set pieces and action in that movie that I genuinely enjoy. So, and it's got a good soundtrack as well. Oh, is it David Arnold or Craig Arnold? No, David Arnold, isn't it? Who did Casino Royale as well. No, that's not the one. Not that one either. And we're going to bow out with this. Don't cry. That's my job. Because this gets me every time. Tracy. All the precious things love has in store. We have all the love. How can any film that doesn't have this playing in it not be the top of your list? No Time to Die with Hans Zimmer brings it in as well. It's Blofeld! It's Blofeld! No, and it just slumps over. And it's like, and the motorbike cop comes over. Oh no! It's alright. It's alright. She's resting. Just for love, nothing more, nothing less. Oh, love. So my best, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, this one, The Spy Who Loved Me, Goldeneye, Casino Royale, and Skyfall. And the West, Diamonds Are Forever. Octopussy, The World Is Not Enough, Die Another Day, Spectre, and Live and Let Die. Was that it? I forgot. See, I'm not saying never say never again, because that's not part of this. I know if we're going to have to do that, it's not part of the Bond main franchise. It's outside of it. It's still shit though, it is shit. Oh heck. Lash that in there as well. It's funny, people that, you know, they hate this movie or they don't even know this movie. They know James Bond but they've never heard of this one. But you play this, they go, oh, that's from James Bond. We still know what it is. Right folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, in this ever explosively mistakenly listing films and forgetting how many you're supposed to put in there in between time, please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all Raiders. And I think in the next video we're going to discuss all the ones who are in the running to be the next James Bond, because there's a lot of names in the frame, and once again it's William Hill who's taking all the bets. Place your bets now, place your bets. And Bond is a gambling man as well, as was Ian Fleming. So it all ties in. So we'll do another Bond video on who's in the running and like what I think of their chances